With every passing day, hundreds and thousands came to him. His home became a mandir with a moving and loving, smiling and playful deity. Yes, it was him and only him who turned everyone's tears into streams of bliss. As the bud blossomed to reveal 1,000 petals, it can only be said that the fragrance of the first few years is unique.
Around Shivratri time in 1947, a sadhu from Badrinath landed up in Puttaparthi. He is a person who has done meditation and tapas at Badrinath in North India, and he lands up here. And this has been recorded by Krishna Kumar, who was one of the sons of the Kuppam family that we spoke about. He and his brother Amarendra were very close to Swami. They used to stay with Swami. They were of similar age, I think, Swami's age, and they would stay with Bhagwan. So Krishna Kumar records this incident because Swami writes about these, false yogis and different kinds of yogis. This sadhu from Badrinath comes and sets up tent in front of the Satyama temple. And he looks at this Krishna Kumar and he starts telling what is so great about this Swami? What is it that he is doing? He begins to wave his hand and materialize fruits and vibhuti. That is the thing. That is the reason I think Swami doesn't give importance to these miracles. Because the ability to perform these miracles can be achieved. They are not the only definition of God. It is the transformation of the heart that defines God. Only God can bring about a transformation in the heart. Only divinity can do that. Materializing siddhis can be achieved. And the moment this sadhu comes from Puttaparthi, whoever is there criticizing Swami, who are against Swami, they all go and join this fellow's team. See, oh, Jai Baba, they join him. You have no idea who this person is, what he has done. Simply because he has a chance to stand against somebody you don't like, you go and team up with them. They all team up with this person and this person gets encouraged. Oh, so many supporters. Possibly he didn't have that many followers in Badrinath. So he has come here. And one day, this sadhu looks at Krishna Kumar and tells, hey boy, come here. I heard you are living with Swami. Go tell him to come and meet me. Anyway, this Krishna Kumar goes to Swami. Swami says, who told you to go and meet him? Swami, he only called me. I was coming on the way to the mandir, he called. Okay, you go about, you mind your own business, you forget that fellow. So Krishna Kumar goes about minding his own business. Next day again when he's passing by, sadhu goes, hey, come here. He doesn't leave, He runs away as fast as he can. And tells Swami, I want to avoid, but he's coming and catching me every time. What should I do? So he says, okay, next time he catches you, tell him to come for bhajans. Says, okay, Swami. So next time again he catches, hey, come here, boy. You come, what? You're not recognizing my, you come here, I'll show you. He says, no, you come for bhajans. Swami told he'll meet you during bhajans. So okay. So this sadhu gets up and goes and he comes and sits on a, like a pedestal like area, like a tulsi matam is there, on that he sits. After one bhajan, Swami calls Krishna Kumar and tells, go tell that sadhu Baba, tell him to sing bhajan. Okay. So he goes and tells that sadhu, you please sing bhajan. And to the utter amazement of Krishna Kumar, this sadhu starts singing very melodiously. Wonderful bhajan he sings. One after another, very soulfully, and everybody is lost. Swami is also enjoying the bhajans. 1 hour he sings bhajans. After which Swami tells Krishna Kumar, now you do Aarti today. And as Krishna Kumar completes the Aarti to Swami, this person gets up. His eyes are welling with tears. He seems to be in a devotional frenzy and he's going on saying, I saw my Badrinath, I saw my Badrinath, I saw my Badrinath. And this is what he keeps telling everybody. Goes out, I saw my Badrinath, I saw my Badrinath. And this time when Krishna Kumar is returning, he calls him and tells him, boy, come here. Tell Swami that I'm leaving tomorrow. He says, okay, fine. Finally some nice message. So he goes and tells Swami that Baba is telling he's going to go. Tomorrow? No. Tell him to stay one more day. Tell him to come tomorrow again for bhajan. Hey, we should gift him something. Go see in the storeroom what is there. So he goes to the storeroom and he says, Swami, one old Padukas are there and one Rudraksha Mala is there. Swami says, get the Rudraksha Mala. I'll give it to him tomorrow. But Swami, that Rudraksha Mala is very small. Maybe you can use it as a wristband, you know. No, you get it, no problem. And he gets that small Rudraksha Mala, and next day when the sadhu comes, Swami blesses him, gives him namaskar, and from a distance just throws this Rudraksha Mala like this. Even as Swami throws, it expands and becomes a mala around his neck, coming till his navel. And the next day, he leaves. Those who actually are yogis and they are not recognizing Swami, either they are ignorant or they are arrogant. And for both, Swami uses the same treatment, the treatment of divine love, transformation of the heart. I'll just continue with that letter again. Swami says, you might have read the life stories of great legendary characters and incarnations of God and known of the great trials that they have faced. It's quite natural for Mahatmas to be criticized in this manner. Why do you worry of such things? How long can dogs bark at the stars or bay at the moon? Likewise, this adverse publicity too is temporary. Satya will win at last. Self-reliance and beneficial activity, the great ones tread upon these paths. As long as we are engaged in promoting the welfare of devotees and allotting them the fruits of their actions, why at all should we worry? In the final analysis, all human likes and dislikes pertain only to the physical body, not to the Atma. And having written this much, Swami then doles out that immortal poem which is oft quoted again and again and again, which is the statements which is almost like Bhagwan's vision statement and mission statement.
And Swami writes in that, these beautiful words of that poem, he says, Akhila manavulaku ananda munagurchi rakshinchuchundute dikshanaku. 21-year-old boy, 1947, barely 100 people are gathering around him. What does he say? Akhila manavulaku ananda munagurchi rakshinchuchundute dikshanaku. He says, not for people of Kottacheru, Puttaparthi, Bukkapatnam, not for people from Mysore, Kuppam and Bangalore. Akhila manavulaku. People from all around the world, I want to give them happiness. Dikshanaku, this is the vow that I have taken. What a powerful statement to come from Swami. I wonder what would have run in Seshamaraju Garu's mind when he read this. Today when we are sitting in Radio Sai, we listen to stories. There are some devotees of Swami who were in the city of Samarkand in Uzbekistan. They were doing medical camp there. They thought this is a Muslim country, war-torn region. We will not mention Swami. We will just do good work. If anybody asks us, we will tell them that this is where we come from. So after a few days, one Muslim lady comes up to them and says, who has sent you here? Who do you represent? You've all done such good work. You've helped us. Who are you? Who has sent you here? And they take a small pocket calendar in which Swami's photo is there and they give it to that lady. And that lady breaks down and she says, He is our God. He is our God. He is our God. He has come to us so many times. And one of the teenage boys who's running around, he comes and peeps into that photo and says, yesterday he was playing football with us. సన్మార్గమున చెరించవారలా చేపట్టి కాపాడుటే వ్రతము నాకు. He says, those who go astray from the right path, I will hold them by the hand and bring them to the right path. Cheipatti kapadute vratamu naku. So he says, this is my resolve. All those who are going astray, I'm going to catch them by the hand. From our part, we have to give him our hand, right? Unless we stretch out. That's one thing with Swami, as we always see. Swami had told one of the devotees, see, free will is a gift that God has given to man. The desire, the decision, the ability to make choices, God has given to each one. God will never snatch it away from a person. You have to choose to give it to Swami. Unless we stretch out and give our hand, Swami will not hold. Swami will not come and grab our hand unless in some birth we would have made that prayer, Swami, whatever happens, even if I don't like you, you come and grab me by my hand. Then Swami says, Bida sadalakaina penubada toliginchi lemini bapute prema naku. In all these days we have been describing, there is one thing which is missing, which is synonymous with Swami, and that is seva, right? We have not spoken about any grand Narayan Sevas. We have not spoken about any grand medical camps. Swami is just frolicking around. He's just running around like a young deer, playing with all these people, doing all these miracles. But he writes to his brother, Bida sadalakaina penubada toliginchi lemini bapute prema naku. To remove the suffering of the poor and give them what they lack is what I love. All these initial years, Swami was making people love him. And what is the next step after you love Swami? Swami, what would you like us to do? Right? Now I love Swami. What should I do to please Swami? So Swami says, this is what I love. So if you love me, this is what you have to do. And Swami is saying, this is what Swami expects. Be the sadalakaina penubada toliginchi lemini bapute prema naku. And then Swami says, నియమ నిష్టలతోడ నను గొల్చు వారిని కాపాడుచుండుటే ఘనత నాకు. What beautiful words. Swami says, I will never forsake my devotee, and that is what I am proud of. I am not proud of all these princes and princesses coming and falling at my feet. I am not proud of all these people gathering. I am not proud of the visions I am giving. What am I proud of? Once I take care of a person, I will never let go of that person. Till the end, I will take care of him. But Swami gives a condition. Niyama nishtala toda nanugolchu varini. Swami says niyama and nishta. With discipline and with resolve, with focus. Those who worship me like that, I will never let go of them. Niyama nishtala toda nanugolchu varini kapaduchundute ghanata naku. Then Swami says, మంచి చెడ్డలు కూడా మనసులో సమముగా భావించుచుండుటే భక్తి నాకు. You think you come and do worship on my feet like this? Professor Nanjundia tells a beautiful incident. When Swami was in old Vrindavan, he always had this desire to do an elaborate Pada Puja for Swami, because that Pada Puja era was over, right? So he was hoping that one day he will get the opportunity to do Pada Puja for Swami. So he got all the paraphernalia, the fruits and the water and all of that plate. So one day Swami gave him the opportunity. So he did to his heart's content. And Swami also very innocently, curiously sat and observed the whole procedure. And then Professor Nanjunde asked Swami, if bhakti is there, is it enough? I might be getting the phrase wrong, but the essence of what he conversed with Swami was this. He says, Swami, is bhakti enough to take us to the ultimate stage? And Swami went on to say, if by bhakti you think that this is what bhakti is, what you did now, if you think this is bhakti, It is a burden for you, it is a burden for me. This is of no use to me, no use to you. But what is bhakti? Swami says, manchi cheddalu kuda, good and bad, pain and suffering, right and wrong, manasulo samamuga bhavinchuchundute bhakti naku. My definition of devotion is to be equanimous. Whatever happens in life, accept it as God's will, God's prasadam. That is my definition of devotion, and you can be sure that this definition has not changed at all. Every time Swami spoke, in the letter itself, 3-4 times Swami has mentioned. Every time Swami spoke from the time of Krishna, bhakti is this for Swami. To accept whatever comes with equanimity, good or bad, right or wrong, pain or pleasure, victory or defeat, Swami says to accept it. And this is the 4 words, 4 verses or 4 lines which Swami writes in the middle of that letter. Very, very powerful. As we said, he says what he has come for. He says what is his promise, and he also clearly says what are his expectations.
Swami continues in the letter, when I am thus engaged in my beneficial task, how can my name ever be tarnished as you apprehend? As regards the way of life here and its comforts and discomforts, even when I do my work with no involvement with anyone, criticism comes forth unwarranted. What would happen if I actually involved myself? When people like you desire to do such acts, how can I say no? Swami is speaking about the adoration and adulation that devotees offer. Swami is saying that I have nothing to do with it. I am not interested in that. But when you have the desire for your sake, I am doing it. Without doing anything, only people are already criticizing. So Swami is giving an idea of the times to come. Imagine when I start accepting it, how people will criticize. And we see that criticism, right? To this day, Swami owned car, Swami had this. Shirdi Baba himself had said, now my devotees can give only this. And I am happy with this. Whatever they are happy to give, I am happy to receive. Because it is not about the object, it's about the love. Swami continues, more importantly, I have no concern for the actions that people like you undertake. It only concerns you, not me. But I will not let go of my hold, my assurance and my nature. The work for which I have come concerns me. Fame or ill fame, good or bad, does not concern me. All are alike to me. I have nothing special to do with them. In order to be familiar with the world, I move with them, talk with them. In fact, there is no need for me to do all these things. I do not have anything of my own or yours. In whatever form or name you call, I will respond. I will come to the place you want me to come. Today I reveal all these things to you. I have never revealed them to anyone earlier. I undertake all these activities only for the sake of the people. How great! There are some people when even in their lifetime, through all their efforts, they have not been able to realize my Shakti or power. There is a poem which says that if Goddess Saraswati were to write the glories of Lord using all the trees in the world as pen, all the mountains as paper, all the waters in the oceans as ink, she will still not be able to write everything. Swami is saying, how can, when people have spent lifetimes and have not comprehended my glory, how can you expect to comprehend and understand everything? Nobody can do me any harm. Do not think even in your dreams that I will be spoilt. I do understand that you have written to me with love, affection and nothing else. I do not have any dissatisfaction in my mind. I will not come in the way if you take any kind of activity in this regard. So Swami is saying, you do whatever you want. The master plan is already rolling. It's set in action. It will happen. Many times we think that we are all actors in this drama and the Lord is the witness. Somehow reading the letter, I feel that the Lord is the only actor. We are all simply witnesses. We just witness His Leela and Mahima. You will witness my full glory in the coming years. The next statement, Swami says that. You will witness, because you are the witness. I am the only doer. You will witness my full glory in the coming years. Our devotees must have patience. Hence, only if you have patience will you know everything. I have written to you in detail. I am replying to you as you may feel pained if I do not respond. In fact, I am not bound to do so. If we are perfect in our actions, nobody can do anything. After that, it is all up to you. I do not have any suspicion, nor do I bear any ill will towards you. I maintain my distance from you for the sake of the world. I am always by you in the spirit. And then Swami adds, I have written on separate sheets each time because devotees keep entering the room very often. No more to write. Your Baba.
అఖిల మానవులకు ఆనందమునగూర్చి అఖిల మానవులకు ఆనందమునగూర్చి రక్షించుచుండుటే దీక్షనాకు సన్మార్గమును వీడి చరించువారల పట్టికా పాడుటే వ్రతమునాకు వేద సాధలకైన పెనుబాధ తొలగించి లేమిని బాపుటే లేమిని బాపుటే ప్రేమనాకు.
Swami would say that going after the world and going after successes in the world is like going after the shadow of the coconut. Going after God is like climbing the coconut tree itself, because even as you climb the coconut tree and get the real coconut, your shadow gets the shadow coconut also. This is what it is. Swami said, think of me, be in me, live in me. You will get everything else. Yes, there will be ups and downs in life, but nevertheless, as Swami said, I will never let go of my devotees, and that is what I am proud of. If there is anything that I pride myself of, it is this fact that I never let go of my devotees. Maybe with that resolve of Swami, we will conclude this. We cannot do Kirtanam if you are not performing Shravanam. So you have given us the opportunity to put to best use the faculty that Swami has given, the faculty of speech. So for that, we are grateful to all of you. We salute the Swami in each one of you.